Okay. So we're going into a little bit more. So the first chapter 8 was all about the guest accounting and folios. In this chapter, we're talking a little bit more about the groups. Okay. So when we have groups in house, we have a couple of different ways that we can handle that. So for example, this conference that we're going to next weekend on the 13th, the Texas Travel Alliance, they're probably going to have a master folio. Do I have that on here yet? Yeah, master folio. They're going to have a master folio, which means all the charges for their banquets, all their charges for that stuff is going to happen on that master folio. I am responsible, the guests, the attendees are responsible for their own room and tax. But there are some conferences, sales conferences, where everything goes on the master folio. I did a conference for a Puerto Rico uh, university back in 2014. They were opening a campus up in the Dallas area. And so, as their local planner, I took care of all of their airfare transportation, not airfare, but transportation to and from the airport. I took care of their opening dinner, their tours that they did, their dinner on the closing night, and all their transportation for all of that. The university, I found out later on from their meeting planner, was 100% master account. So every room at the hotel went straight to that master account. So every person that was attending, if they ordered room service, it went to the master account that the university was paying for. And I was like, huh, I wonder if the students at their university knows this is how much money they're spending on this trip. It was interesting. The president of that university, I don't remember the name of it. I don't even know if it's still around, but the president of that university, I had to have a 16 passenger motor coach bus literally sit at the hotel from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. just in case his wife wanted to go shopping for 8 hours at $250 an hour, just sitting there, just in case she wanted to, like, oh, I want, not that she had to wait 10 minutes for the bus to get there, but it was in the parking lot. I was just like, that is, and that was for 10 days. Like, that's crazy. Anyway, so that's the master folio. Everything goes to the master folio for the accounts. It's not my job. They paid me. Okay. When we're looking at these accounts, this is primarily in groups, right? Because obviously our guests, when they check out, they're paying when they check out. So this is for groups. As we age them, they're current if they're 30 days or under. After 30 days, they're overdue. After 90 days, they're delinquent. Okay. So in accounting, we have two different types of accounts. We have accounts receivable. Okay. Accounts receivable is money that's due to us. Okay. Accounts payable. RECEIBABLE. Accounts receivable, accounts payable. Accounts payable are our bills that are due to our vendors. Okay. So in accounting, we have our own T account, just like the guests have their T account for their rooms. We have our own T account of the money that should be coming into us based on the contract that the group signed. So they sign a contract for a certain amount. That's the money that's our accounts receivable. We're expecting that money to come in. And then the accounts payable is what we actually pay the vendors, like our food vendor, to purchase all the food to make the banquet for the guests. Okay. So in the checkout stage of the whether it's groups or individuals, we have guest history files. So in our guest history file, we make notes of, they said they were going to have 200 people. They actually had 150. So the next time they come back to us, they're like, oh, yeah, we've got 200. We're like, well, last time you had 150. Do we want to be a little bit more conservative with your numbers? Because remember, if you guarantee it, you have to pay for it. If you don't reach it, you got to pay for it, right? And so we might use that guest history. We may have a guest history be like, the 3 mattresses ended up in the pool from the 10th floor, so this group is no longer allowed to come back to our hotel. Okay. We don't want those types, but we need to have a guest history file. How much money did they spend? How long were they here? All that information goes into their guest history file. Same thing happens with you as a personal guest. As an individual guest, you have your own personal guest history file at the hotel. So that way, they can remember, oh, they prefer a higher floor room. They prefer rooms away from the elevator. Or the last time they were here, their shower didn't have hot water and we had to move them. So maybe this time when they come back, we want to make sure that we either ensure they have hot water, or maybe I might give them a complimentary upgrade for their trouble the last time. Right. So the guest history file is really important as we go through. Or maybe we don't want them to come back to our hotel, or they're banned from our hotel for whatever reason. Those guest history files are crucial. So with the checkout and the settlement process, basically what we're doing is we're paying off the balance of whatever else they owe, right? Each night we're posting those charges, and we're building how much they owe us at the end, and we're settling that with a credit card payment. It may also be that the company is paying for it, and it's what we call direct bill. So I have that on this slide. I think it's the next slide. Yeah, I have it on the next slide. Okay, so we're basically settling all of the balance of the account. Okay, the front desk is then going to update the room status. So instead of occupied, it's now checked out. It's now vacant, dirty, whatever the system is calling it. That's the room status. Okay, and then we're taking all that information as we check out. Our system just automatically puts all that information into the guest history record. Everything that happened during that time that guest was with us goes into their guest history record, so we can remember that. When we talk about settling, they can pay cash or with a debit card. Okay, pretty much the same thing, right? Because debit card, it automatically takes it out of their account versus a credit card. And then direct bill. Direct bill is where I'm basically going to move that into my accounts receivable. And then whether it's the monthly or the weekly, I'm going to send an invoice or a bill to that company to say, hey, these are all the charges that you need to now pay, okay, as an accounts receivable. We might do a combined method. How do you think we might combine some of these different methods of payment? Okay, so points is not on here, but yeah. So we may pay with some points and then partially with credit cards. What else? Okay. Yep, absolutely. We might also have a situation where the company pays for the room, but they don't pay for food or incidentals. So the company will pay for the room and tax, and then the guest is going to pay with one of these other options for their incidentals. Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. For those incidentals, right? So the company or whoever's paying for your room, that's going to go on the master folio, and then your charges are going to stay on your folio for the incidentals. Absolutely. This is oftentimes too, those of you who work front desk might recognize this. We're going to ask for a split folio. What is a split folio? Who works front desk and can tell me what a split folio is? Yes, go ahead, Mark. Anybody? Oscar, go ahead. Uh-huh. Yeah. So if the company's paying, it's like when I travel for Alamo colleges, I always ask for a split folio because Alamo College is going to pay for my room, but they don't even know how much I drank and ate at the bar. Okay. So I don't want to turn in my entire receipt. They're only going to pay for my room, so I'm only going to turn in that receipt. So basically, a split folio allows you to split those charges I'm still going to pay with one payment. One swipe of my card is going to cover both folios. But again, when I go to submit my receipts, Alamo Colleges, I don't drink excessively. I'm not going to like, that's not me, right? Because I'm traveling for work, I'm responsible. But maybe I treat myself at the restaurant and have a really nice, expensive dinner, but they don't need to know that I'm spending that kind of money. So that's where we do the different split folio. And then late checkout. This is something where we're communicating with housekeeping about what guests are checking out late. What difficulties do you think late checkouts pose to the hotel, Alondra? It delays the housekeepers, right? They come in and they want to start cleaning and they want to start getting things ready to flip to the next. Okay. What else? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, when I stayed at a hotel, I overslept, so I missed my checkout time. So I called and I said, "Can I please have an hour extended checkout?" And they said, "Sure, that's fine. We won't charge you. Just." But they were saying for next time, just make sure that because of because it kind of
Yep,
slows down everything.
it does. Absolutely. So to prevent that, sometimes we charge a late checkout fee. If it's an hour or two, it may be a $25 to $50 charge. If it's more than 4 hours, they may charge you the entire room rate again, right? Because if you're trying to check out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and check out or check in is at 4, housekeeping doesn't have time to flip that room. And so then the next guests that are coming in are delayed getting in. And we may have to do some guest recovery because we don't have their room ready for them. And so all kind of just like domino effect, just kind of balance, bounce backs on us. So yeah, some points, some rewards provide that initial like you're guaranteed a late checkout. Okay, what can we do to prevent late checkouts? Okay, yeah, so we can remind them what time the check-in and checkout time is. Okay, yeah, yes, Oscar. Yeah, we possibly do wake up calls. Yeah, set front desk. Would you like me to set up a wake up call for you? Or just remind them in the room. There's information that you can schedule your own wake up call because a lot of hotels are going that way now. That they actually because it used to be when I was night audit, you would literally. I think I worked night audit like once or twice, but you literally would have to sit there and program every single wake up call. Now guests can actually do it from their room a lot of times. The room key would deactivate absolutely because when you program that key, it's programmed until checkout time on their date of departure, and so they wouldn't be able to get back in their room. That would be one thing. But we could also offer to hold their luggage, right? Well, my flight doesn't leave until 2 o'clock and checkout's at 11. Well, that's fine. You're more than welcome to leave your bag here at the front desk. We can hold it in our office back here. And if you want to go and explore the city for a few more hours, we're happy to hold that for you. And then that gets them out of their room so housekeeping can go in and clean their room. Okay. So their option could be pay $25, $45 for late checkout, or complimentary, we'll hold your bag for you while you're out exploring and enjoying the city a little bit longer. Sometimes people use that excuse. They're like, well, my flight doesn't leave till 6 p.m. And they think that we're just going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, why not? Come on in, stay an extra little couple hours, right? No, we want to be accommodating, but then also times our guests, people, I'm not going to say that every guest tries to work the system, but the people who try to work the system, they know what they're doing, right? And you're just like, this is not your first time asking for a late checkout. Like you scheduled that flight. You know what time checkout was. Of course, those are things that we say inside our heads and we don't let our facial expressions say what we're thinking. Okay. We have to also make sure that we're keeping that professionalism. All right. So that's chapter 8 and chapter 9 in a nutshell. Let's take about a 5-minute break to stretch, use the restroom, grab a drink, grab a snack, and we'll jump into housekeeping.